Entering the Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog, the Bank of Utah Championship from the Black Desert. Ryan Noonan from BetSports Golf on the line with me to break it all down. We'll go through the odds, some of the stats from the rabbit hole. And Noonan, good news. I finally figured out what's going on between both Fantasy National and BetSports Golf. So this is tentative, but as of the Tournament of Champions, wherever the hell that they're going to hold that this year, that I think by January 1, that if you have a Fantasy National membership or you have a BetSports Golf membership, you now have access to both sites until they become a perfect combo. And most of the tools should be parsed over by January 1 as well. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm putting it out there in the ether just so it can get people off their ass and get it done.
Yeah, I'm excited for this as well. We've had multiple meetings here even in the last couple of weeks. I do think we're going to have a lot of the things that people will be clamoring for that are Fantasy National staples on BetSports Golf, hopefully by the TOC, again, wherever that is, or if they still hold it or whatnot. I'm sure they'll find a place to do it. But yeah, hopefully it's seamless. And again, in the meantime, everyone will have access to both. And yeah, eventually we'll get there, continuing to add new things to the rabbit hole. And yeah, just very exciting times here in the golf space for us data nerds.
So let's jump in to this course. The easiest course on tour, maybe. 84% hit fairway rate. When I spoke to Michael Kim about this when he was on a few weeks ago, he's like, yeah, it's good for most people, but I don't hit the ball straight, so it's not good for me. Giant fairways, it's a resort course. But if you miss the fairway at all, you're basically plus 12.
Yeah, and you look at like good drive percentage is telling it like 94.4% good drive percentage, which is a combination of off the tee and on approach with, guys getting, green or green proximity, tells you that this is not a super challenging track. Now, again, there's lava fields, so there is a true missed fairway penalty. So if you are super spraying it, you're hitting provisionals because you can't play out of the lava. Like you can play out of the desert at Scottsdale, right? Or like Summerlin or some of the other, Western desert courses. You can't play out of the lava rocks more times than not. But again, it's really hard to find the lava rocks here because, like you said, big old fairways, like on average 49 yards across. Like, sometimes we're in like the upper 20s, low 30s. So just, you can land planes on these fairways. So it's really hard to find the lava, but some guys will. I believe Michael Kim did last year. Someone did there in the first round. It was very fascinating to see how they pitched back on there. But yeah, it's an easy resort course. The greens are kind of the only defense. It plays at elevation, but not even, as long as it's going to play on the scorecard.
So how do we try to cap this then? It just seems like someone gets hot and wins at minus 24.
Yeah, you look at it, the only thing that seems to be more challenging than tour average was putts inside like 10 to 15 feet. And guys, if you read some of the quotes after the fact, they're talking about how it's fairly new. Like I think the front nine opened in like late 22 and then the back early in 2023. So not a lot of rounds have been played out here. So these are still greens that are kind of finding themselves. They saw that a lot of double breakers within 10 feet. So they got creative with pin placements. I think that's kind of a way that you can challenge tour pros on a course like this because you're not challenging them tee to green. So even the worst guys tee to green are going to be able to keep themselves in play. So yeah, I mean, literally shout out to John Rahm. It's a fucking putting contest. So I know Rahm's not playing any golf here for a few months. I'm not sure he would love this setup, but it's just going to be guys that get super duper hot inside 15 feet.
Well, which is interesting when you go back and look at some of the names that were at the top of the leaderboard last year. Matt McCarty wins by 3 at minus 23. He's a very good putter. So that makes a ton of sense to me. Although, yeah, even last year he was inside the top 10. But then the next few guys on the leaderboard are like Glover, Jaeger, Streelman, Matty Schmidt. Not guys that you would normally associate with good putting, although Streelman was by far the best in the field on the greens. Historically, a very bad putter. But these guys were like first in approach and first tee to green, sixth tee to green. So I'm kind of all over the place of where I want to go here. Like Matt McCarty cleaned up on Corn Ferry the year before. I think he won 3 times, and that's how he ended up getting his promotion and everything like that. I mean, Jaeger has a 59 on the Corn Ferry Tour. I mean, Glover's just an old dude at this point, but should we be leaning more into not necessarily all the Corn Ferry guys, but some of them are just used to playing these easy courses?
Yeah, you got to be able to score on some of these resort courses. You can go into the rabbit hole, filter easy and very easy scoring additions. And I think that's just a great fundamental place to start. Like, I don't want to look at rolling 36 or how guys have played in the last 6 months because, even though a lot of the top guys aren't in this field, I still just don't want any difficult golf to be tied into your data. It just doesn't really matter at all. What's fascinating, I was kind of thinking of this too, Pat, because I think you make a good point. It's almost in a way, and go with me for a minute here because this is a stretch. You think about like the Bryson US Open at Wingfoot, where it was like, okay, everyone's going to miss the fairways here. So my advantage is just to absolutely pound it down there, and then I can use a wedge, and it's going to get me closer to the hole. Whereas this is kind of a place like obviously a significantly lesser degree. Everyone seems to be struggling putting inside even 5 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet. So it's like that's why I think there's a case to be made for maybe some team no putt guys, because if you just are white hot ball striking, especially with your irons, and we have a lot of like 175 to 200. Everything else from a approach just distribution standpoint is kind of flat to field average. We kind of see fewer wedges and more 175 to 200. So you just dialed in from your approach game, give yourself better looks, the right quadrant of the greens. Again, another thing we've heard from the players after the 1 year of playing it was there's definitely right and wrong spots to leave yourself. Guys that are just dialed there, and then again, we'll just kind of give yourself more opportunities, knowing that everyone's going to kind of lose more 3 putts than normal here. So, it is kind of strangely a spot where I think you can, even though putting is the separator, kind of look at some no putt guys because everyone's going to be kind of losing compared to where they typically would be.
I can get on board with that. That was always my approach to POA sometimes too, but I always feel like POA greens do both extremes. Like the really good putters putt well on them, but all the really shitty putters have like an equalization matter. Because like Brant Snedeker has wins at Torrey Pines kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, How do you do that? Wedges and immaculate putting. He was the one who was able to figure all of this out. The one key note here is that although the average proximity ranges are a little bit farther, it's at 3,100 feet of 3,100 feet of elevation. So when you get some of those like 175 shots, guys can like juice up some of these pitching wedges pretty well.
That's a great point. Yeah, for sure. Right. So we are playing, and I think this is the most in terms of like a standard PGA Tour event. Obviously, Castle Pines for the BMW was at a higher elevation than this, but in terms of just where we typically play, this is the highest of elevation. So, I don't know. I feel like they have a good understanding of how to calculate that now consistently. So, I don't want to give an edge to anyone that played here last year to have the advantage. But yeah, I mean, again, you're at elevation, but it's actually a really flat golf course because they just put it in the lava field. So, we're not having like these massive, swings downhill or, approach shots into, greens that are raised or, down in the valley at all, which is kind of interesting too. So yeah, it's kind of standardized and guys will have a good feel for that by the time we get to Thursday.
I'll have a good feel for it on next year's show because I'm actually going here in May to play. I'm playing 2 rounds at the Black Desert. And I've just, because it's a resort course, like you said, I'm very much looking forward to that after doing Pinehurst last year and hitting into like turtleback greens. It'll be nice to hit into some like flat greens that aren't like super elevated. Like, just let the ball roll out a bit. It'll be fine.
Yeah, better for the ego for sure. Yeah, I had a bunch of buddies that I go on my annual golf trip. Wanted to do this last year as well. It's just traveling at this time of year with all of our football responsibilities is kind of an unwritten no-no for me. So I passed on it, but I was super annoyed. Saw the pictures, looks absolutely stunning, and hopefully you go out and crush. Your game's in good shape.
So Noonan, over at betspertsgolf.com in the rabbit hole, you've already made your power rankings for the week. So I have those up on the screen right now. Kevin Yu at number 1, Mav, Noren. That pretty much reflects of what we're seeing near the top of the odds boards as well. We'll get into more of that in a minute. Thorbjorn Olesen, Mark Hubbard, Davis Thompson, Kurt Kitayama. It's not a terrible field. The defending champ, Matt McCarty's at number 11. Matt Wallace is there as well at Actually, Matt McCarty's at number 10. Matt Wallace is at number 11. I bet on Matt Wallace last time out. That did not go well.
Yeah, I know we talked about him. I was on Thor last week. It's tough, man. I've been on Thor literally since he turned pro. As a fellow New Englander, we don't need a lot of us on tour. It's not necessarily a PGA Tour hotbed, so I feel obligated to tail and ride with my fellow masshole. And I feel like the tax is getting more expensive, Pat. I had a tax a few years ago. I don't know if you have these where you kind of hitch your wagon to a guy, and the FOMO of like being on the sideline when they finally get home is just untenable. So like I have to pay the price. I was doing that for years with Aaron Wise.
Oh
That was
God.
way more. That was okay. Like that was a affordable price. Now we're in the spot where Thor is like 20 or sub 20. This is getting a little bit rich, but I think he's, I think he fits the place as well. So probably gonna have to pay the tax again on Thor.
Yeah, I think I'd rather go with Norn from the top, but just like looking at the like course data and the course facts, par 71, 7,371 yards. It's an average length setup, but at elevation, it's going to play a lot shorter than that. Very easy scoring conditions, 2 water hazards on the course. Shocking with all that. Maybe they're lava hazards. Bent greens, bent fairways, big driver heavy off the tee, basically no rough to speak of, 7,000 square foot greens. Fairway accuracy easy, approach very easy, scrambling easy, scrambling from the short grass easy. Like you said, the only thing that's hard here, strokes gain putting is hard, 3-putt avoidance is hard, strokes gain putting inside 15 feet, incredibly difficult versus tour averages. And you can even see it by the stats, driving distance almost 300 yards. You don't need to be a bomber here at all, is the one thing I kind of took away from what these stats tell us and what the leaderboard shows us, that you're much better off being an accurate driver, although everyone's kind of accurate here with an 84% driving accuracy, that there doesn't seem to be like a huge advantage to being super close to the greens.
No, not at all. The same thing. Like I'm not looking at around the green at all. Even if I'm trying to look at big picture stuff, I'm trying to look at just ball striking, because if you're having to scramble here, you're dead. These are, a lot of birdie opportunities. There's some risk reward par fives, and there's only 3 of them because it's a par 71 track, so you got to make your hay there. But again, you have to be dialed in. Well, those might be wedges in a way. Like you said, you might have some guys, at the tail end of that 175 to 200 clip that are hitting, I don't know, 50 degree, 48 degree, and they can very much get there, with that club. So yeah, I think Norton's a good look. He models very, very well. The only thing he's getting docked in for me, again, he's top 3 in the model, is just the like ball striking upside, but he's a solid baseline putter. He's a solid putter when it's difficult to gain, and he's a solid putter on bent grass. I have all 3 of those splits, lightly graded, but in the model. And that's kind of why he's popping up there in the top.
Yeah, he's number 1 for me as I kind of scroll through everything. So the players with the best form coming in over the past 3 months on average, and obviously there was a big break. Not a lot of the guys in this field played in the Tour Championship. Noren, Mac Meisner, Taylor Montgomery, although most of that is, I guess, his approach play. He's actually an interesting one here because can he get away with his terrible off the tee? I think that you might be able to.
Yeah, I think he's actually interesting. The putting is so good, right? So like if we could separate there, and he can move it. And again, you don't have to do that here off the tee, like you said, because we're just kind of a fake 7,400 yards. But, was playing pretty well in the Corn Ferry, seems to kind of be carrying it over. I think, typically, even when he popped a handful of years ago, it was swing season in West Coast. And, we're out in the desert. We are kind of not necessarily West Coast, but we're definitely West. So you can make a case for, Montgomery, I think like 75 or so. I don't think he's a bad look in the bomb section.
In 2 starts during the swing season, he's lost 4 strokes off the tee in both events. But he's been gaining on approach, gaining a ton on the greens, and he's chipping really well. So I guess it just comes down to his accuracy, right? Like if he can just get that going a little bit, maybe it's not a complete disaster.
It's just keeping it literally out of the lava fields, right? Because again, we're talking about massive fairways. So yeah, if you're finding lava here a ton, you're in trouble, and it's going to feel like a really stupid bet. And it's like, oh, there's Taylor Montgomery in the lava again. But this is, if there's one spot that's going to mitigate the fact that you cannot keep the ball in play and find fairways at a 40% clip, this would be the place that you'd probably be able to kind of get down. Especially, like I said, the iron play, as you mentioned, that is going well. And like any putting split that you look at, even when he's been down bad over the last handful of years, the putting is immaculate. So, yeah, if you look, you want to make the case for team no putt guys for sure, and you want to make a case for a guy that kind of can separate week over week on the greens. I think Montgomery is interesting.
I think that's one of the ways that I want to play it. That like one of those 2 polarizations with the putter, like all ball striking, no putting, no. Taylor Montgomery was cut at this tournament last year, so in 2 rounds he lost 8 strokes off the tee. That's impossible.
It's so hard. It's so hard to do. I mean, again, like sub 40% off the tee. So maybe I considered it, but I want to just kind of see that number might drift a little bit. I know what I talked about that last time we were hanging out talking about golf, was like what's your approach in terms of like betting strategies? I typically like to fire on Monday morning because I feel like, all right, if I'm going to do some data. And again, the model is available for people. They could see it. If I'm doing anything that could influence, making these bets that can move the number, um, maybe I need to jump on early. But also there are times where it's like, what is this outright golf betting? It's so stupid. Like there's no good value. There's no true hold on this market. It's insane. So who cares? Do a little bit more research, see if someone gets steamed, see if you can get a better price and wait for an 80 or an 85 on Taylor Montgomery instead of chasing the 70 this morning.
Yeah, for sure. All the odds on the show are sponsored by coolbet.com. If you're in Canada outside of Ontario, hit the description, get your bonus, get some great odds, get the fastest payouts in the biz. Yeah, Noonan, Mac Meisner, Montgomery, Takumi Kanaya, Lonto, Kurt Kitayama, Matt Wallace, William Mao, the chairman, Christian Bezadenhout, and Mav McNeely. Then you got like Noah Goodwin. Where's Rosen? What's his name? Rosenmeiler? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Thomas.
Yeah, Rosenmuller.
Is he playing?
He's in there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. This guy is going to get so much of my money all year long. It's incredible. Dude cannot putt to save his life. But the approach play, the driving, it's all really, really good. Like 7 point. Like he has 2 starts in the swing season. He has not finished better than T29 because he can't chip or putt. But 7.7 on ball striking, 8.2 on ball striking. He's probably the best ball striker in the tournament.
Yeah, it's not a large sample, but he's been pretty darn good. I'm trying to see if I have his. He probably didn't factor in on the size of something because I was looking at guys that had upside of gaining 1 or more strokes ball striking over a large sample. Yeah, and he just doesn't have enough rounds to populate there. But yeah, yeah, like I said, the profile is interesting, and I think that's kind of the way to do it. We have 4 rounds here, so like. Really getting super locked in on exactly what happened and how it played last year. I think there is like, you can kind of misstep that way. So like, and I think it really applies too when you're building like DFS lineups. Cause I, think you want to kind of like, I think this is a Raza thing, like skill stack. I think it makes a ton of sense. And this is a good application of it too. Like, all right, let's lean into a putter and let's lean into someone that's just absolutely going to kill ball striking. Like Lucas Glover last year, he lost strokes putting here, still finished in the top 3 because he did separate with his ball striking. He played so well. Again, he just is typically maybe flat to below average putting on most weeks. And I think that's good. I don't think just kind of locking in on just one, golfer archetype or skill archetype is the right way to go. I think you should kind of try to marry a few things across the board.
So there's only a few guys in this field of, was it 132? Yeah, 132 in the field that are ranked inside the top 12, which I'm looking at right now in ball striking, yet are a positive putter for the moment. Kurt Kitayama is number 1. He's 2nd in ball striking, 48th in putting, and Mac Meisner is 7th in ball striking over the past 3 months and 38th in putting over that time. Everyone else is massively in the negative. Then you have like your Max Homas, who's like 64th in putting. His ball striking is actually, could this just be a Max Homa spot? The problem with Homa is that we're not getting anything for him. Like he's still being kind of priced. Not like he's like peak Max Homa, but he's not being priced like he's this version of Max Homa either.
I think 40, a little above 40 is probably okay. He's the other kind of touched on the 3 guys that I'm leaning on with Thor Bjornsson, Homa, and then there's a longer shot with Taylor Montgomery. The approach stuff with Max has been great. And when it was really bad there for a bit, it was the approach stuff. So the putting is fantastic. Excuse me. The butter, it's like the drivers, he's sort of like a low key Taylor Montgomery. The putter or the driver has been terrible. So look, he's making putts. The approach game recently is fantastic. I think you make a good point. Like, you should probably be a little bit longer in terms of how he's been playing, but there's some name value here. And again, there's not a lot of names in the field. So I don't hate mid 40s. I could see him getting steamed a little bit today.
So let's see. Over the past, let's say 6 months, take a look at Max Homa. I've got nothing from the Bay Current, but he was T40. Yeah, he hasn't lost on approach since the Travelers. And that's when his game kind of flipped back a little bit. Like, he started to get some of his game back at the Rocket Classic. And then since the John Deere, he's been pretty good, I suppose. And he's only had one like disastrous round off the tee. And if he does miss the fairways here, he's absolutely pooched. But maybe he can hit a few. Like, he was gained off the tee at the Wyndham and the 3M and the Pro Core. Like, that's not the end of the world. We can live with that. Like, 0.24 off the tee for a tournament, fine, as long as you do everything else well.
Yeah, and the approaches are good. We see where I have him putting. He's, I think good across Basically all the samples that I'm looking at here too, which is, again, it matters this week. And like, I just have heard a few pressers with him too. And that the vibes are just so different than where they were when he was down. He seems to be someone that like he's off Twitter, right? He reads the comment section. Just not a great place to be if you're a professional athlete. So, but he seems to just kind of be in a better headspace. Seems to think that he's found something in his swing that he didn't have before. Equipment change, a few other things I think were playing a part for the struggles last year. But yeah, baseline putting is great. He's even better on bent grass, and he's 21st in the field and gaining strokes when it's difficult to gain strokes on the green. So, those things kind of marry nicely with a guy who's kind of dialed in with approach.
You know how much time I spend researching bets and lineups and shows and getting everything ready for you? So when it's actually time to sleep, I need it to count. That's why I switched to a Helix mattress, and honestly, game changer. I have Helix mattresses all over my house. My wife and I have one. The guest room has one. My kids have one. I got a kid on the way, and eventually they're going to have one too. Even Jared over at the studio living there, I got him a Helix mattress as well. Populated with Helix, you need to do it too. I used to wake up with a stiff back and night sweats. Now I just sleep through the night. No tossing around, no overheating. It's just comfortable and supportive. I took their quiz, I tailored it to myself, and boom, I got exactly what I needed from the mattress I deserve. I think you deserve a nice one too. So go to helixsleep.com/Mayo for 27% off and exclusive to Pat Mayo Experience listeners. That's helixsleep.com/Mayo for 27% off. Make sure to enter my show name after checkout so they know I sent you. helixsleep.com/Mayo. For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, blue label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnywalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly. Now that I'm old, I've had to come to the fact that I just don't bounce back the way that I used to. I don't wake up in the morning feeling normal. And now that football season has started, that is absolutely unacceptable. I got work to do in the morning, and I got kids that are waking up. It's no good. But that isn't a problem anymore because I found ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol. The ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic, invented by PhD scientists to tackle the rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's a buildup of this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol the first drink of your night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel the best tomorrow. Go to zbiotics.com/PatMayo to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use Pat Mayo at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/PatMayo and use the code PatMayo at checkout for 15% off. Let's jump over to coolbet.com and take a look at these odds to see if there's people that we can find down this list. And we can parse this through for DraftKings as well. So just to kind of take a look at the very top, Mav is 14-1. Listen, maybe he'll get his win. He got a win during the swing season last year. That's just Mav at 14-1 is simply just not going to be for me. Noonan and Thorbjornsen, 18. Kitty 20 days in this tournament. He's 22. So is Davis Thompson. Is this we spoke about, maybe bad putters can come through. Would this be the spot for Rico Hoey?
Yeah. And again, ball striking has been great. He made the switch to like the Zalatoris, like belly lab putter. It looked okay for like a round at the Pro Core.
Then went back to normal.
But he talked about it after. He's really excited about the switch. So I don't know, maybe there's something there. Again, like this fits what we're trying to do here. We're trying to spread the wealth a little bit. So if you're looking to kind of find maybe a balanced guy, maybe a ball striking guy that can't putt, and then maybe a putter. Yeah, I think Rico as your ball striking, no putt guy would make a ton of sense. I don't love 30, but again, the ball striking is that good where it makes sense that he's that price.
Yeah, Kevin Yu was right there as well, who I saw rated number 1 in the stats that you looked at.
Yeah.
That actually, again, makes a ton of sense to me too. Although I think he was lighting it up on the greens at Sanderson Farms, if I recall that correctly. It was like, oh no, he's supposed to be like hitting everything to 2 feet, not making every single putt. But maybe I have that backwards. Oh yeah, no, he just kind of did. Yeah, his approach play the past 2 tournaments has been bad. His driving's been great, chipping's been great, and his putting's been okay, which is just weird for Kevin Yu.
Yeah, he flipped it on us a little bit. So, yeah, I have him the best player in the field last 36 rounds on courses where it's easy to gain off the tee and easy to gain a ball in approach. So easy ball striking last 36, you kind of separates.
I'll have all my final bets in the Mayo Media newsletter. Additionally, you'll be able to find them up on betspertsgolf.com. It's going to be a free article. That's where I'll be posting my articles for the foreseeable future if you want to go check that out, and betspertsgolf.com to get your hands on the rabbit hole, which is what you're seeing on the screen as we're going through everything. Just taking a look more at some of these odds. Bezadenhout is up there, and the stats aren't going to necessarily dictate, although we're trying to get the DP World Tour stats in there, what's going on with Noonan, because he's been playing great overseas. And now, obviously, he's coming back. That's why he's the second favorite in the field. Not that he was playing like super poorly coming in, but I thought that was interesting. Billy Ho is back, who hasn't really played well at all since his return from injury. But from what we saw going down the list a little bit earlier from this deeper section, like Meisner at 50 might just be a play.
He's been playing really good golf. I like him quite a bit, and I think I circled him a little bit last time out and didn't pull the trigger. And he was, I think, threatening over maybe Friday or something like that. And I was like, man, I should have gone there. He fell apart. But yeah, I think 50 is a pretty good number. In that section is pretty interesting. Like home is right there, like we talked about. Your guy Pearson Cootie and like Luke Clanton, we'd have been tripping over ourselves to get 50s on Luke Clanton. They're like the Honda. So it's just interesting. It hasn't been good. But like, if you just wanted to make a bet on pedigree, like someone like myself is trying to do on Thor Bjornsson at 18, like the 50 on Clanton is fine too, right? If you're just kind of shooing everything that we've seen of late, which hasn't been great. Okay, bet on talent. This kid's got a ton of it. 50 probably makes some sense. I imagine he gets some buyers too.
He has not gained an on approach in any of the 4 tournaments that he's played over the past 4 months, which is just frankly shocking based on like when we just go to all of his records and he's like, hey, 4 in a row lost on approach. It's a whole lot of green across the board, especially coming onto the scene from a year ago. He did not play in this tournament a year ago, just for the record. He played in the Pro Core, the RSM during the swing season. He obviously came second at the RSM. Like, would you still, I mean, obviously you're betting on Thor, but is that still a spot that you want to go to? Like, if we just take a look at the guys who are in that range, like Thigala, who just got engaged, by the way, I saw that. Like Jesper Svensson's there. William Mao, who already does have a win. Jagger was second at this course last year. In your stats, like Hubbard and Hostler, like those guys, in my mind, great putters might be a play on as well because they're the great putters. Like all these guys just kind of, they all feel like different versions of the same guy at this price point. That Mac Meisner's just playing the best right now. I might go with him.
Yeah, I like the Meisner look for sure. I think in that range, it's probably, I know I was on Svensson last time too. I like his fit, but again, like I think he can separate off the tee, and I think this is a hard place to do that. So I don't think we're gonna, really give him a ton of credit for that. Vince Whaley, if you want like a top 40, he's gonna do that. He's been really good for a few months, never ever threatening the top of the leaderboard, but just like not missing the cut and definitely cashing solid checks. It's the tough guy to bet because he's never in the mix. But yeah, Home is kind of the guy in that range that I think I'm going to take a shot on. But I think Meisner is definitely on the short list as well.
Yeah, the other guys I would think about, like I always like myself a Ricky Castillo shell necklace. I forgot that Ryan Gerard won a tournament and still plays on tour. He was getting up to like 21-1 at like the Valero Texas Open at points last year. Now he's 50-1 in this tournament, and he won a tournament at Elevation. Like that's where he won it, at the Barracuda.
He did. He won the CUDA, and he can't putt. I think he rates really bad in all the putting stuff, but he could be a Rico Hoey, right? Like he's kind of the same build. The ball striking could be fantastic. Look, and the Barracuda, and it's stable for scoring. Like you need to birdie. Like you can't just walk away with pars. You got to take advantage of eagles and birdies out there. And again, that's kind of the test here. You can't really, like we talked about, you can't be worried about around the green and scrambling here. Like you're done. You're done. So I can get there on Gerard. I just would want that price to be a little bit longer. yeah, just Hubbard's better in my opinion. Like Doug Gim's another like ball
Yeah.
striking maven that can't putt. Um, yeah, that's not it for me. Kanai is playing really good golf. Um, One away, like we just didn't see him for like 2 years. He played like 4 times, different injuries and different stuff going on. He's interesting. I thought the number would be bigger earlier. When I saw him pop in my model, I'm like, okay, might get a bigger number on Takumi Kanaya, but yeah, he's 60 is a little rich for me.
So I just set the filters to past 8 months. So basically the entirety of 2025. I went to very easy and easy scoring courses. And then I went to scoring and looked at birdie or better from the fairway because you're not going to be making birdies from the rough here and everyone's going to be in the fairway. Now, Doc Redmond only has 4 rounds. Preston Summerhays only has 2 rounds. So keep that in mind when we go through it. I can turn off the hide salary because salaries are not out as we're recording this. Noonan McCarty, who won last year. Hayden Springer, Kevin Yu, Mark Hubbard, Davis Thompson, my main man, Pearson Cootie, Jason Day, Taylor Montgomery, Eldrick Potgieter, who is most definitely going to live, right? That's happening.
Seems like it's happening, which would be a shame. But
why is he playing so much then?
I don't know. Get the bag, kid, I guess. I don't know. Right. There's the South African team that has a spot that's open. Yeah, seems like it, but strange. He might just be awesome, right? What if he was awesome? That would suck that we would lose him on tour. We'd have to tune in to golf, but louder to make sure we get to see him.
So like everything just kind of points back to Norton, especially like, or I mean, I don't like McCarty's odds at 25-1 or 30-1, wwhatever you might be able to find. That feels like a bit rich for him, but maybe this is just he knows how to putt at this course.
Yeah, this might be just this is his Silverado, like Max, right? It could be just a case of that. So yeah, you're never going to get the defending champ for a good price. I feel like, especially when the field's a little bit weak. But yeah, I mean, he's modeling well. These are the kind of setups that I think work really well for him. Like you mentioned, I think the call out at the top of the Corn Ferry guys, like those guys are not playing on very difficult golf courses relative to PGA Tour pros. Those guys to survive, get their tour card, you need birdies in bunches. So looking at some of the Corn Ferry guys, like, McCarty had in outstanding form, had won multiple times late in the season last year heading in. So I think that's a pretty good angle. I need maybe do a little bit more Corn Ferry research because those guys are not going to pop here. We don't have Corn Ferry data in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, but it doesn't even feel like most of the Corn Ferry guys are like playing in this tournament, which is weird. Like even when we go down to the bottom and try to find some of the guys who like Austin Cook is in this field somehow. No idea why. Still, I think the golfer I've won the most money on in the history of time would be Austin Cook. But like even someone like Thigala. Like Thigala's at 50. Like when does he get his shit together, basically? He's better at the bait.
Yeah, it's been bad. Yeah, it's been rough. But again, they're kind of like off the tee is the problem, right? The driver has been his issue, kind of like Max. They're priced the same basically. I would understand why someone would want to kind of, take a reach at that. Also, yeah, I was looking at that last night when I was first looking at the fields. I'm like, oh, Johnny Kiefer, right? Maybe Johnny Kiefer is going to be in this field, right? He was tearing up the Corn Ferry Tour for, most of the back half of the summer. Like, we're going to get some more Corn Ferry guys in here. And we really seems like we're not. I guess that was the one that I was definitely looking for to see where his price was. But yeah, not in the field.
All right, I'm going to jump over to Fantasy National because I think that we have this is why we're in the process of getting everything linked together. Like, how was it done over at the Bay Current? So I want to see with Taylor Moore, Kurt Kitayama both lost off the tee. Where was Sahith? That was the big one. Yeah, he lost off the tee over there as well. But the approach play was back, the chipping was back, and we really have no idea with the putter. It's funny because Alex Noren was playing great in this tournament until like the final round. Because I remember, I bet Alex Noren, he came T27, but it was his putting and his around the green that let him down, which is actually kind of encouraging for this tournament because normally he's good at those things.
Yeah, and again, around the green, it won't matter at all. That could be, another reason why I can make a case for Thor is that the most of the approach play, you can get it out there a mile. The around the green stuff is kind of where he gets those Sunday scaries a little bit. That's what we saw last time out too. Just shouldn't matter here at all, right? If he's not, finding the green and having to scramble, we're kind of done. So yeah, I think Noren's a great look. I understand why people would want to go there at the top. I like Mav too. He's going to model well. I'm just never going to be really going to the top of the board. Even Thor feels bad. But Mav makes a ton of sense as well. But yeah, the Noren stuff is probably not fully captured in the rabbit hole, but he's still modeling really well for me. Still in the top 10 in all the data that we do have on Noonan for sure.
Yeah, and the win at Wentworth isn't going to be there, so that's pretty interesting stuff. So just some other guys like William Mao gained almost 8 strokes on approach at the Bay Current. That was only behind Thorbjornsen, and you're getting him for more than double the price, and he's already a PGA Tour winner. Maybe it's not Potgieter that's going to go. Maybe it's Higo that's going to go. That would bum me out. That bums me out more. Like Potgieter looks like he could be a star. I don't think that Higo is going to be a star. I just like Higo better.
Yeah, no, I get it. You were an early Higo guy. I think that was a Sky thing, right? Sky was very early on, Higo, years ago before he was, made the Congaree start and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, I love the flow too. As a fellow Southpaw, we don't have enough Southpaws on tour, so losing him would be a bummer.
Yeah, Salinda was up there. Kitayama. I mean, Kitayama's kind of I don't want to say the sleeping giant of this, but he just everything that we've pulled up so far has just shown Kurt Kitayama.
It's true.
And he's like 22 to 1. Oh, we're already losing Bez numbers here. Bez dropping in the market down to 33 to 1 already.
Never a Bez guy. But again, that's a better version of I guess Taylor Montgomery, right? Like the putter does a lot of the heavy lifting there.
Yeah, well, he's a lot like Matt McCarty, isn't he?
Yeah, that's fair. Right? Not really poking it out a ton, but yeah, you get hot with the wedge game. Yeah, I don't hate him. I just don't love that price. This would never be a price that I just totally just keep scrolling and skip down and never really give consideration to Seabass.
All right. So there's 3 other ones that I just want to take a little bit of a deep dive into as we go through this. Let me pull back up. One is Ben Coles, who I'm such a sucker for, which is a really terrible thing. Let's see, Ben Coles. I'll open up some Bo Hostler too. Get some Bez and some Ben Coles. Ben Coles is ball striker. He doesn't hit the ball very far at all, but he hits like every fairway. He's awesome with his irons. You can see like the last time he lost strokes on approach was at Colonial. This is like average per round, 3.2. He misses a ton of cuts. 7, 7, 4. Like even so far this swing season, he got cut at the Sanderson Farms because he lost a bunch off the tee, which is unlike him. He also lost 4 strokes putting in 2 rounds. That if this is someone that we can kind of get behind of, hey, we're purely going team no putt and distance doesn't matter as much, then maybe he's someone to look at. Gained off the tee here last year, gained on approach and lost a bunch chipping and putting. Like, classic him, but he's over 100 to 1. Like he's in that same range as like Rosenmueller.
Yeah, for him to win the golf tournament would be a stretch for me. Just maybe I just have the Craig Ranch stuff like stuck in my head. Where like winning golf tournaments is hard. We're weekend hacks. We never have to play for anything that's we're playing skins games or whatever we're doing on our golf trips and stuff like that. We never have to actually play for somewhat life-changing money. Getting yourself into the Masters and extending your tour card and stuff like that. He folded like a cheap shirt a couple years ago. So again, maybe that's the reps he needed to be able to learn how to handle that on Sunday moving forward. You could sell me on a top 10 or a top 20 on him for sure for the profile that you're talking about.
Back-to-back top 10s for Bez, just looking at it right now. And obviously we saw at Fantasy National, he was plus 5.6 on approach. Lost strokes putting at the Bay Current over in Japan, which is somewhat surprising for Bezadenhout. But still, back-to-back top 10s is always a good look coming in. I brought up some Bo Hostler. This is Bo Hostler, right? No, this is Ben Coles. I was like, yeah, geez, man. Maybe Bo Hostler's playing a little bit better. Salinda was another one down that list. He's just been kind of playing like crap, was okay at the Procore. That was it. And then Ricky Castillo did not have his best up at Sanderson Farms, but overall like a pretty decent ball striker. So we can probably cross those guys off. So here's what I got narrowed down to so far. I got 6 guys. I don't know if I'm going to bet them all, but obviously we'll get into it when I release that article and I whittle everything down. Noren, Homa, Gerard, Mac Meisner, Bezadenhout. I got Coles and Rosenmeiler down at the bottom as well. Doesn't feel good, but maybe that's where I need to be. I'll put Mao on that list too. Mao.
Yeah, I like Mac Meisner. He grades out well for me when I look at just again easy ball striking, last 36. Playing on easy golf courses, very easy scoring conditions. Again, we were like minus 1.94 score relative to par here. So even though we got into the one guy basically into the 20s to win, everyone was shooting pretty low here. So, you need to really score. So that's why I really like using the rabbit hole to pull that stuff out. I want to look at who's done well when ball striking test is easy, and then who's doing well on very easy and easy scoring conditions. And Matt Meisner does well for sure. So I think he's interesting. I need to do a little bit more. Haven't made a bet. Definitely have the guys that I've talked about that I'm interested in. But Meisner's been trending and has been a guy I've been considering for a couple of weeks. So maybe he needs to get the call up, get some actual cash.
Yeah, I think that's where I think I think Homa and Mac Meisner are probably going to be like the two first clicks for me. Here, I'll commit to betting on those guys at 40 and 50 to 1 unless I can find a better number on that. And I'll get CoolBet to boost up one of those guys too. So if it's Homa at 40, we'll get him like Homa at 55 or something, which is always very nice. Always click over here on the left-hand side. You can get the PME weekly boost over on the left-hand side at coolbet.com. And you go into it right now. I winner, by the way, on Sunday. I had a very good Sunday in football, including the PME Weekly Boost, that they were so happy that they put a CJ Stroud, Sam Darnold combo rushing over, boosted up to 3 to 1, if people are interested in that. But I'll have golf ones in this section as well. The one last thing I wanted to look at over at the rabbit hole, I went to the floor ceiling. It's near the bottom of the view tab when you go down. And it's still set to very easy and easy conditions of players that gain 4 or more strokes. Like what percentage of the time do they gain 4 or more strokes on courses versus the field on this? Now it's Doc Redman with his 4 rounds at a 50% rate. Should we just bet Doc Redman because he had one good tournament once?
We should just use the minimum round feature. So we pull those guys and we don't even know Doc Redman exists.
This is way more fun. Look at this. 9th at the Sanderson Farms. Guy was unstoppable. Couldn't even putt.
Yeah, maybe he's short-sighted. Maybe we just need to be looking at really, really, really recent form because most of these guys haven't been playing since, late July and August. So we should be looking at the guys that have just been banging around at the Procore in Bay current.
Where's Doc Redman at? Well, what are Doc Redman's odds? Let's see here. Doc Redman, he's like not even on the list, basically.
200 on DraftKings.
200 on DraftKings?
Same as Tom Hoagie, which feels disrespectful.
Tom Hoagie's in this field?
Tom Hoagie is in this field at 200 to 1. Same as Nick Dunlap.
What the hell happened? I mean, Dunlap.
US President's Cup captain Brent Snedeker. They're all 200 to 1.
That's going to be local to you, right? In Chicago? Medina?
I got Medina on right now. Yeah, my son is a looper over there. It's less than a half mile away. Cannot wait.
This has been bad. Can I just stay at your house during the President's Cup?
Yes.
Can we do shows from your house? I can bring all the equipment.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
We
got to go to the event too, right? I mean, we're going to get credentialed and get up over there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tom Hoagie was 3rd at the Players. He had like 4 consecutive top 20s, including the Players and the Masters. He's been awful since. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
You got all that money and hit the craps table?
Great. Yeah, Tommy tables. Well, at least, we're in Utah. Definitely no tables in Utah. So maybe he's more dialed in, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, that maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe. Although there is the casino here, right? Because we were looking into this for our guys trip because it's like on the border. I think that there's
okay.
I think there's one side of the resort where you can stay in Utah and there's like or in Nevada and there's like a casino.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think that's how it works. Or I was lied to by the organizer of the trip.
Trip organizers usually have to be strong integrity. It's a lot of pressure. So
it is. We tried to do like a rotating thing like we do at our Ryder Cup where we just nominate like a new captain every single year. But that didn't work out. So we let my buddy Artie, who's like one of my best friends, stood in my wedding. He's like, no, I'll organize it next year. All of us just kind of looked at each other like, this is not going to go well. And within like a week after last March to book a trip for the following May, it was like he was out and the old guy was back in. That's just how it works.
Oh yeah, we got a rock star organizer. He lives and breathes being the organizer. We at the last trip we have like a produced released video to announce next year's course and event. He no stone unturned. Everything is planned. Meals. It's amazing. You having one of those guys that can absolutely anchor it and like takes pride in doing it makes a guy's golf trip happen. Because otherwise, if we're just all up to our own devices to kind of figure everything out, no one's eating dinner. Tea times are getting made the day before. It's just not how it's done. You got to have an anchor.
There are 2 of us getting into Vegas early because we're traveling from here, myself and the other Tim Butts. And I said I wanted to play Shadow Creek, but I'm open to a course in Vegas or somewhere along the way if people want to come play with us and get us onto one of these awesome courses. We'll pay whatever we're not looking for a free round, but if we can get onto one of these awesome courses, I would love to do that. So if anyone out there is watching, message me on Instagram or at mayomediainc@gmail.com and let me know if that's something you'd want to do next May at some point. Apparently, I got a few things about Shadow Creek. Apparently, Taylor Montgomery's dad is the pro there.
Okay. Yeah, there's a few Utah guys too that I think have been familiar with this course. But again, like Fishburne, I think Zach Blair.
Where's Finau this year? Is he not allowed back in Utah due to legal reasons?
Doesn't Finau need a ton of money? Shouldn't he? First of all, he's got 1 million kids. He's got lawsuits. Why would he not be teeing it up at the Bank of Utah? Maybe the Bank of Utah has some liens on him or something like that. You would think that would make him force him into the event, but I'm very surprised that Finau is not in this field.
So this is the small sample that I talked about back on betsportsgolf.com/Mayo. Get yourself that discount and go to the rabbit hole. If you have Fantasy National, you'll have access to this as of January once we get everything, and I'll figure it out. But yeah, 4+ strokes gained total per round. What percentage do they do that at? You take out Doc Redman in his 4 rounds. It's Noren, Davis Thompson, Potgieter, Champ, Thor Bjornsson, Mav McNeely. Joel Damon is still up there over the past 8 months. Captain Phillips is still there at 13%. Carson Young, Jesper Svensson. Carson Young was top 15 here a year ago as well. Putnam, Hoey, Jagger, Taylor Montgomery is still there. Mark Hubbard, Kevin Yu, Stephen Fisk coming off his win, and Matt McCarty was there as well. If we just do 3+, at a 37% rate at courses like this, it's like Noren, Potgieter, Thorbjornsen, Smalley. Smalley's interesting. Smalley had a good run, I believe, at Sanderson Farms because I was giving him a look, and he was 4th. No, it wasn't at Sanderson Farms. It was at the Bay Current. He played really well, but before that, he was absolute trash. Interesting name, though, to throw up. He's a former favorite of people, Alex Smalley.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah,
right
he
there,
performs well on comp courses as well. Remember anyone that, maybe had him in, I know he's popular in Mexico. With Potgieter, so yeah, he's played some good golf on easier golf courses. It's probably been one of the most brutal sweats to have Alex Smalley. Just will continue to find ways to shoot himself in the foot. The putting is bad. But again, the ball striking is solid. So again, he fits that kind of the team no putt guys as well.
All right, so let's get to the quick picks, the routes that we're going this week for the Bank of Utah Championship at the Black Desert. Again, if you know any of these Vegas courses, want to play around with me and the fake Tim, then you just let me know and see if you can get us on these courses. Homa and Mac Meisner, 40-1, 50-1. I'll shop those numbers, but at coolbet.com, that's what they're at right now. I'll try to get one of those guys boosted. Then I'm circling around Bez, Noren, Chairman Mao, Ben Coles, Rosenmailer, and maybe Doc Redman.
Yeah, maybe Doc Redman. I talked about the tax on Thor Bjornsson. It's just a guy that I've bet. I do feel good that at least I'm not blind betting into data that doesn't support it. Like he very much was in contention last time out. He's played these softer golf courses, these birdie fests better. And then it's a spot where we really don't need his around the green game. So that actually bodes well for him too. So I probably am forced to make that bet. I think I'm going to go with Max Homa as well. So I'm with you there. I'm going to kind of shop around in that middle range as well. Probably look into Luke Clanton to see if there's anything that's there. I think Mac Meisner makes a ton of sense. Going down the board further, I want to shop around. I want to take a look a little bit more at Taylor Montgomery, Patrick Fishburne, Carson Young, as you mentioned. Those are kind of the names that I'm, 90 on a Patrick Rogers. I don't know. He's a little bit interesting to me, but again, he's also just doesn't win golf tournaments. So that's probably a problem if I'm betting outrights.
Yeah, I was just trying to take a look at Norman Zong to see how he's doing. He's had a couple WDs and missed cuts over the last little bit, so that's not great news. He took like 3 months off due to injury, it looks like. WD, miscut, then didn't play for 14 weeks. Came back to the Sanderson Farms. It was terrible. This is usually a spot where I would like him, just because he's like 300-1 playing with the each way or play him as a top 20, and you get like 8-1 on those odds. So I want to dig in a little bit more to him, but I think that's where I want to settle on. Meisner, Noren, and Homa. And maybe that's just it. Maybe I throw in a long shot or two, but that's just where my eyes are going to. I'll probably get Noren boosted up from like 18 to 25 or something. I think that's going to be the move.
Yeah, I took a look at it's in the model. Guys in the last 36 rounds on easy golf courses, very easy golf courses, easy ball striking, gaining at least 1 stroke ball striking on average. And Norman Zong is third in that for me. So you, Gim, Zhang, Smalley, Rico are the top 5 in that little subset. So
Norm,
again, not necessarily like the ceiling stuff you're talking about with like 3 or 4, but again, just consistently gaining ball striking. He's popping.
Yeah, and like a pretty good Corn Ferry player by and large since he went down there as well. Mainly easy courses. Like even in Puerto Rico this year, he kind of popped. I was on him that week. He was in the final group and came T12 because anytime I have someone in the final group, they play terrible, as I found out. I'm hoping that is strictly a 2025 thing, and then in 2026 it flips back and everyone just plays well. So I got like 4 more tournaments to go this year, and then my guys can finally play on a Sunday.
All we're doing in the outright game, right, is just trying to give ourselves a Sunday sweat. And I just feel like if you are continuously doing that at a high rate, you're going to have years like this, like you're talking about last year, where you just kind of got a bunch of, guys that, barely made the podium or, faded on Sundays. But it seems like you're doing the right thing. If you're getting enough guys that are at least on the first page of the leaderboard on Sunday, you have something to tune in for with an actual sweat. Then I feel like, you only need to hit a few of these a year to kind of pay for itself. And hold strong, Pat. You're all right.
Yeah, betspertsgolf.com/Mayo. Get yourself the discount. You can find all the expert rankings over there. You can customize the data any way that you would like, plus the free columns. Ron's column for the course preview is up there now. My picks will be out later this week for free and in the Mayo Media newsletter, which you can always sub to for free down in the description. Smash like on the way out. Sub to Mayo Media Network, and I will see you next time.
Mayo experience! Experience!